She's a crazy networker and she's known for building communities. She's also a podcaster, an entrepreneur, and so much more. Let me introduce you to Fari Zolf.
For me, I just wanted to explore. I wanted to build memories. Well, living in Egypt, they're like 24 hours a day enjoying life. Things about Iran is what is the essence of it. In Hong Kong, didn't expect there to be shisha, so that was the surprising expectation I achieved.
Wow.
Abu Dhabi, the traffic is something that we don't want to talk about because it's a headache.
Solo trips to Sri Lanka. You want to throw some light on that?
It's such a amateur mistake.
Missed some flight and it was New Year's Eve and you were hit with a credit card scam.
So with Emirates, Hong Kong to Dubai, and we went via Bangkok. It affected me, of course.
Of course, it had a huge impact.
You know what? If you go somewhere and it's totally unexpected, still go with the energy of explore and enjoy.
Welcome to License to Explore. This is your host Rohit. This is the show where we uncover the world's most amazing people.
This is your podcast, but I dominate it because I'm here.
Dubai is very safe.
No.
City of safety.
I was crying my eyes out in the toilet. If I eat noodles tonight, I will not be able to make it to the office tomorrow.
How would you define yourself as a traveler?
Great question.
Every travel you do, you get to be a different person.
Welcome to License to Explore. This is your host Rohit, and today in the studio we have an amazing guest. She's a crazy networker and she's known for building communities. She's also a podcaster, an entrepreneur, and so much more. Let me introduce you to Fari Zolf. Fari, welcome to the studio. How are you
Thank you,
today?
Rohit. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure, Fari. Fari, for the audience, can you please introduce yourself in your own words?
Yes, that's quite an interesting question to start off with because it depends which hat I'm wearing today. But in essence, I think I would easily classify myself as a serial entrepreneur, someone who has a curiosity to connect, connect ideas, connect people. There was a point where I saw myself as a connector as such, but in essence, events is my what do I say? Kryptonite. So I'm an event advocate. I love attending them, organizing them. It's one of my things where I see that the ideas come to life with people, connections come to life. It's a beautiful, magical thing for me. And off the back of that, I've kind of now branched out into creating a digital agency where we're creating content and bringing the message a little bit further to the wider audience, right? So events only do one aspect of it, whereas content and creating that legacy content builds the momentum of messages. So as organically the agency's built, I've let it evolve, right? So business has taken off and I've let it grow where it goes.
Fari, I've known you for a while and your energy is amazing and you bring the life into the events and you are very well known for building communities, be it the Podclub or ExF, which is Events by Fari, and you have a great networking event going on there. I think it's very beneficial and useful for people who want to grow in terms of skills. And you're right, you're bringing communities together, you're bringing people together, and you're doing your magic with events and being an entrepreneur. That's so many hats. But let's start by understanding, before we actually delve into your journey, we want to know that as a traveler, when did the travel bug bite you? Or when did you really start traveling? How old were you? What was the first trip? What memories do you have of it?
That's a very interesting. You're taking me way back when now. So I was very young when I started traveling. My parents wanted my sister and I to really absorb as much as we can from different cultures. They're very open-minded. Being born in Iran about 2 years before the Iranian Revolution, and in terms of everything changed in the country. So I left when I was pretty young, when I was about 7-8 years old.
Wow.
And that was my first trip out. Obviously, it wasn't a fantastic experience, leaving when there is I would say even a war is in process, the Iran-Iraq war. However, it made me understand that travel is something that sometimes is necessary on various different levels, but also just creates a new adventure for you. And in that regard, yes, it was necessary for us as a family to leave the country, but it was necessary for us to start a new chapter. And the adventure, I think the bug got me then, right? Flying out, and I remember it was Swiss. I'm getting goosebumps as I talk about it now. Flying on Swiss Air at the time, And we flew into Zurich, stayed there for about a year until my dad sorted things out. And during that time, we were exploring, Zurich, Geneva, Switzerland as much as possible. So the first trip out, I was pretty young, like 7, 8 years old. And then that's where it all started, just realizing that Europe was just at my fingertips. I was pretty young when we did a lot of summer holidays as well. So I can't lie, I don't remember most of them. But I know that my parents had the intention for us to learn from other cultures, to explore as much as we possibly could. And so it started pretty young. Yeah, pretty early on.
Wow, that's amazing. Being a young toddler of 7 and 8 and moving from your home country and moving to a different land, a
Yeah.
foreign land, it's amazing. And I think it is making you what you are today. It's added a lot of value to your journey as well. Great. So every traveler has a persona, in my opinion, right? So some of us are backpackers, some of us are luxury travelers, some of us are a mix of both, some of us are budget travelers. What kind of a travel persona do you have, or do you carry?
I would definitely say I cannot be classified as a backpacker. I do enjoy getting the pure essence of the city and the country that I visit. So I do like to kind of go exploring, and I'm not a person who enjoys like camping or any of that kind of stuff. But I would definitely say wherever I go, if I can stay in a boutique hotel and kind of really experience it in the heart of the city, I would. If I'm on a beach, then resort luxury, thank you so much. That's where I've chosen to go. I'm going to stay with that side of things. But as an essence, I think I would definitely say I do enjoy traveling for the pure joy of it, right? But I don't want to struggle. So let's keep it as straight as that, yeah.
No, I know. I think you have to strike a balance. Sometimes you have to look at the budget side, but sometimes you want to splurge. And, it depends on the destination you're going to, what kind of accommodation is more suitable for that destination and stuff like that, right? So speaking about that, we have this ritual in the show where we ask all our guests that if I gave you an envelope today with a first class ticket, no questions asked, where would you go and why?
I'm not going to ask you any questions. I'll take it happily. I think I will take the opportunity to fly to the other side of the world and visit New Zealand.
Wow.
So my dad has been working with New Zealand for decades, and he's visited multiple times. I've seen the photos. It just looks beautiful. And I think if I'm going to go first class, I'm going to maximize it as much as possible and just fly to the other end of the world and enjoy the nature that New Zealand, I think, brings so much of a different perspective. So, yeah, I would travel and I will go to the tiniest little island possible, and that's where I would want to explore. Yeah.
Amazing. I've never been to New Zealand, but it's in my bucket list. The closest I've been is to Australia, but I never got a chance to go to New Zealand. Great. Now let's dig into your travel files. So you've been to, I believe, more than 40 countries, and you've lived in many cities. You've lived in Moscow, you've lived in London, you've lived in Cairo, and now you live in Dubai. Do you remember the first country that ever gave you that goosebump or that adrenaline rush for travel? Which is that first country? Based on where you have lived all these over the years, I'm talking about more of based on where you have lived rather than where you have traveled.
I would say, honestly, my first country that I left, the UK, because I grew up in the UK. So I did all my travels in Europe. I maximized that, and I loved Europe. But when I actually decided I don't want to stay in Europe, I want to go out and live in a different culture altogether, I wanted to explore the Middle East. And to be honest with you, after I left Iran being quite young, I never lived there as an adult. So we would visit now and again, but I chose to go to Iran. And yes, it's my homeland, but there's a different energy when I go back. I don't feel like it's where I belong, to be honest with you, because I've never lived there.
Right.
But I just connect with the land, right? So that has been one place where I visited as an adult, and I decided to live there for about 3 to 6 months, and then eventually became 2 years. That was something which really changed me. But I think another place where I visited also, and I decided to make that my home, was Dubai. Okay. And I really, when I came here just for a pure visit, it was like a little weekend getaway from Iran. I just connected immediately. And I thought, no, I don't want to live in Iran long term. Definitely don't want to return back to Europe. This is where I want to be. And something just connected with me when I came to Dubai. And it was just that hustle and bustle that, everything you want is here. I'm a beach person that has that. I love the city, it has that. I can explore within the country and go to Ras Al Khaimah. Everything that I wanted was here.
Yeah.
It just spoke to me. And this is, now I'm getting goosebumps again. I just realized this is where I can start my next chapter. So
Awesome.
honestly, this was one country that is not connected to me by blood, but I feel like I belong here.
Right. I think that's a common feeling for a lot of us living here for quite some time. And when we came here, of course, things were different. And the way Dubai keeps transforming and surprising us and evolving all the time. I have a follow-up question to what I just asked you. So Iran, the UK, Russia, Egypt, and now the UAE, and we spoke a little bit about UAE. How has living in such drastically culturally different countries shaped your worldview? How do you look at the world based on living in these countries, especially, the diversity that these countries bring along your journey?
Ironically enough, yes, they're very diverse in their languages and their culture, but I see them all very unified. And the realness of it is that everyone is just trying to find their best life. They're trying to make what they can out of what they have, right? And that's what I see wherever I go. I think the essence in which they explore that, for example, living in Egypt, they're like 24 hours a day enjoying life. Even if there is situations going wrong with the government, with the country, the economy, they make the most out of it. And that's the vibe that I got when I was living in Cairo, and just exploring the whole country was just breathtaking. I love the place, I love the people, the culture and everything. It was just all about maximize your fun. And they came together, right? Even though they just came out of the Arab Spring and everything, you sense this connection, this unity. Moscow, I moved there for about 2 years. I was able to explore St. Petersburg as well. Coming from, former USSR, very divided, but the people were connected in a way that I didn't expect them to be so warm. And this is, again, back to, potential, I would say, propaganda that I was believing. But it was such a warm, welcoming, hospitable country with just beautiful people, beautiful hearts. And they all had come together, right? From division, they had formed a union. And I think from my side, it just formed this understanding that wherever you go, you will see a difference. But that difference will connect with you in a certain way. And you connect with the people. So it unifies us all together.
Right.
It just, travel brings that element of we are all one,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And I think the diversity matters, like you said, rightly said, that when you lived in Egypt, the life was different. I've been to Egypt a few times, and I've seen that buzz in the people,
Yeah.
the speed, the action, and there's a lot of hustle bustle going on all the time. It's a busy vibe.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who are like, it's too much for me, but I love that energy, right? I am that kind of yes, let's go and make the most out of everything. So for me, I resonated with it.
It's
And
very
I
high
just-
energy.
high
very
energy.
high
And
octane,
living on the Nile, it was just these, boats going up and down, music, and everyone was just enjoying themselves. Even if they were just walking, they were laughing. There was just a different vibe compared to what was being broadcast in the news at that time.
Right.
So it's just the people experience living in a country differently to what the news is broadcasting. And I think that just gives a different perspective to what we need to see.
The real perspective can only be, experienced when you are there, when you're there in person, whether you live there or travel there. Because a lot of times news and today social media, they give us a perception that is probably not 100% true.
Correct.
So it changes the whole experience when you go there.
Yes.
So when I spoke to you earlier, you spoke about your driving holidays, right? So you like to drive on your holidays. So which was your most unforgettable driving holiday? And what did you learn from being behind the wheel in a foreign country, in a foreign terrain?
To sum it up, I have two massive learnings that I got from driving holidays. And the most memorable one, I would say, it's a very, very tight one because you're asking me a very difficult question. In terms of, for me, one of my favorite countries is Italy. I've visited maybe for the last 3 or 4 years annually. And the last trip was a driving holiday from Rome all the way up to Rimini, Bologna, Montepulciano, all the way down to Naples and we went to Positano, all the way Capri. Like the whole thing was just beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful. But there was and I did that with my sister. unforgettable, right? Just because I love Italy, and it was a driving holiday, and we were exploring every single area we went to. The wine, the food, everything was just magical. And it happened that also Napoli won the championship at the same time, so there were celebrations happening everywhere. It's just a beautiful experience. But to say unforgettable that I really cherish is my driving holidays in Iran. So while I lived there for 2
Really?
years,
Iran?
yeah.
Okay.
I started working there with the British Embassy, with the Canadian Embassy.
Canadian Embassy.
And every holiday I got, every long weekend, I was like to my mother and grandmother, let's get in the car, we're going to go somewhere. And of course, for me, I just wanted to explore. They had memories there. I wanted to build memories. So for my side, traveling, I went up to the north, and it was like, 1,200 kilometers I was driving. And just the winding roads along the border of Azerbaijan, it was just a magical experience for me because I didn't know my own country. Right? My mother had so many experiences, my grandmother, of course, but I wanted to kind of like take a little bit of that legacy and build my own. So I think that for me was the most unforgettable. Traveling through Iran, going to Esfahan, Shiraz, Tabriz, the Caspian, all by car was unforgettable for me, especially because it was with my mother and my grandmother. It was something that I'm going to cherish forever.
Awesome. Iran is an amazing place, and there's a lot to be explored there. I haven't been there lately, but one of my first trips was in December of 2004 or 5, almost 20 years ago, and that's where I experienced snow for the first time. It was so
beautiful.
magical, so amazing.
Whereabouts did you go?
I went to Tehran, of course, because I went for work. We went for a trade show. There was a ICT show happening. And I still remember it was so magical. First time I saw snow-capped mountains and there was snow all over the place. Reminded me a bit of India because of the traffic and the people and the hustle bustle.
The traffic is something that we don't want to talk about because it's a headache.
But look, India is the same or the worst probably. Like we are all kind of similar in terms of that kind of stuff. But what I did really enjoy is the food, right? Wherever I went, I was fed really well, and the hospitality. Like everyone took care of you. Even we went to an office for a meeting. They give you fruits, dry fruits, tea, and they keep on it's like like so much going on, so many sweets, and the food there was. I mean, of course, after that I did explore the Iranian cuisine here in Dubai, and Dubai has a lot of good Iranian cuisine, but probably not equivalent or as good as what you can have in Iran for the ingredients. But yeah, I did enjoy the bed of rice with butter and different kind of kebabs. That was insane. It's still.
Rohit, you're making me hungry now. I'm like salivating by just remembering. And the fun things about Iran is what is the essence of it. When you said exactly, it's not just the people don't expect there to be snow, and they don't even expect maybe to be mountains in Tehran.
I had no such expectation. Yeah.
Right. So when you're there, you kind of in the heart of the city, you can see, especially where you were. I'm sure you were probably in the main Istiqlal area.
Yeah, I
that
guess so.
area is where you can see everything. And you see the mountains. Just a short drive away, you'll get to the core of the city, and that's where the bazaar is, where actual trade is happening. And that's still kept the same way as it has been for the last 50 years.
Wow.
So we do have the essence of East meets West, but the meeting with all the sanctions and all of these, having to deal with them and being self-sufficient has helped us to be very resourceful as a people. And we've still kept the culture, right? The restaurants, it's booming. So you will have, like, for me, every time I go back, everyone who wants to go, they're like, let's go to the newest restaurant. We'll go to the... I'm like, take me to where is authentic. I want to go and sit on the floor. And they're like, are you crazy? You've come from Dubai. You don't want to go to the 5-star. I was like, no, I've been there, done that. I want to go sit by a stream, see the water running, have my food served, fresh kebab, fresh bread, have a shisha on the side. That's what makes me feel like I'm part of the authenticity of this place, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have both. Many cities have that.
Yeah.
Exactly. It just depends on who likes what. Right. For me, I would always tell anyone when you visit, go see the palaces. We have beautiful history museums from what is left behind, but we do have things from the monarchy left. On the flip side, the food. You hit it on the head. Food is incredible there. So yeah, if you're a foodie, Tehran, Iran as a nation, yes, but Tehran, you must go and visit.
So for our audience who lives in Dubai, can you recommend some good Iranian restaurants? Which are your top favorites in Dubai?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot, and we don't have any promotion, branding, or sponsorship here.
No,
So
we're
we
not
need to think about
promoting
this.
any brand. It's just out of authentic love and the love for food.
So I would say to you, one of my original restaurants that I went to when I first came here back 20 years ago was based in Dubai Marina. They're still there. and you get the essence of the Iranian food, and you really feel like you're in Dubai. So you have the best of both worlds. And it's called Iran Zamin.
Oh, Iran Zamin.
Yeah, it's one that most people know of, but the branch that I would suggest is go to the one in Marina.
The one in Marina Walk.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because and when you sit outside in the winter
Yeah.
as well, it's beautiful. You get the boats going and the fresh air, and the food is delicious. It's just lovely. There are so many new restaurants opened up as well. You've got Sofre, you've got there's so many that I've forgotten the names now, but there are a few who are coming up. There's Ariana as well, which is Persian cuisine, and that's in the Royal Atlantis. So it depends on what kind of level do you want to go in,
Yeah.
what kind of experience and decor and all of that you want. So we have everything, to be
Right.
honest with you, even here in Dubai. I just think that it depends on, what kind of vibe you want to go for, but wherever you go, the food's going to be good.
Yeah, awesome. Iran Zamin, I think they have got a lot of branches, and you said the Marina branch is pretty good. They have a nice vibe there because of the location. It's just at the marina, so you can sit outdoors in the right weather and you can enjoy the food.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the iconic destinations you've been to. Like you've been to Santorini, you mentioned you've been to the Rix Cafe in Morocco, and you also been shisha hunting or like shisha suggesting in Hong Kong, right? So which one of these places surprised you in terms of what you imagined to be and what was the real experience? Like you would have some imagination in your mind that when you went to Rix Cafe or when you went to Hong Kong, and what did it actually turn out to be versus what you were visualizing it to be?
Yeah, this is a very good question. So Santorini was one of my bucket list destinations, and it was exactly what I thought it would be in terms of the vibe, the views. The only thing I didn't expect was everything that you see in the paintings, the postcards, the videos or whatever is a tiny little spot on the whole island, right? Whereas in my imagination, I thought the whole place is going to look like this.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, it's...
I feel the same. I have
Right?
the same imagination of it.
You go and it's a small spot where you get that vibe, but it's that energy that you've always dreamed to go in, those blue domes and everything. You sense it. It kind of made me think I was expecting a lot more.
Yeah.
And I was still just wowed. It was beautiful. The views were incredibly beautiful. The sunset, wow, because I'm a sunset chaser. So
Okay.
everywhere I go, I will have to find the best sunset. And thank God, everywhere I do go, the best sunsets seem to follow me.
Wow.
So it's just breathtaking. That was one of the reasons I always wanted to go, because you're supposed to see the most beautiful sunsets. And it really didn't disappoint. I just think like Morocco, again, I expected everything. And
Rix Cafe, how
Rix
was that?
Cafe was just because of the movie Casablanca and all of this.
Yeah.
And everything I expected, it overdid itself. So really over-delivered. I would say, in fairness, everywhere that I visited, I tend to go with a clean canvas, like a blank canvas, for it to show what it is supposed to be. But just like if you see things in a movie or whatever, you have this expectation. I want to try and remove the expectation. So where I go, I will just absorb it for what it is. So the main thing that really surprised me, I would say, would be Hong Kong, because I really didn't know what to expect. And when I went, the night I arrived, I put some maps down, I put my iPad, I was like, where am I going to go? And I planned my 3 days within an hour. The beauty of it was I had no idea where I was going. And as I said, I love sunsets and I love shisha. So somehow I was able to see the most beautiful sunsets when I went up to this mountain. I had to take a train to get there. Up the mountain was this beautiful, huge temple with a gigantic Buddha. Absolutely breathtaking. Did not expect that experience at all, but saw the most beautiful sunset. And then when I came down, there you go. I was just came back to the city, and lo and behold, I'm able to find shisha places. So the people I was with are like, "How did you even find shisha?" I'm like, "I don't know. I seem to have a nose for it." So yeah, I've done that in Zanzibar, I've done it in Bali, and I've done it in Hong Kong. Didn't expect there to be shisha, so that was the surprising expectation I achieved.
Wow.
But yeah, just every city has its own beautiful expectations for me.
So is Santorini, is it really that surreal, what we see in the postcards, what we see in the movies, or it's a little different compared to what we are used to seeing?
For me, it was exactly what I expected to see.
Okay.
Right, the just the views when you're looking outside towards the water, and of course the buildings, the blue domes.
Domes, yeah.
So
the white and blue. And,
just beautiful
but tell
scenery.
me, to just understand this a little bit more, so you said like you feel like when you're going there, everywhere is like that, but everywhere is not exactly like that, but some parts of it like that. How are the other parts? Are they Is there like a continued theme across Santorini, or just certain parts which are like that, and there are other parts which might be different?
See, my way of looking at it is wherever I go, I try to absorb the energy of where that place is.
Right.
And the beauty of Santorini for me was you experience that vibe when you're in the, the white and blue, and it looks exactly like you see in the paintings and postcards. But it's there for, you go for lunch, you go for dinner, nice, walk along, and it's beautiful vibes. Then you just move maybe 40 minutes out and you're by the beach. And the beaches, you have so many different beaches.
Right.
And there's like a Black Sea and all of these where the sand is black. Really nice little beach clubs. Just that was something I didn't expect, right? I thought it was going to be a lot more luxury. And obviously I thought the hotels are going to be tiny, which they were, because it's such a small space and there is such a high interest for people to come and visit. They're trying to maximize the space with as much hotels as they possibly can. In fairness, they've done the best they can, but it seems very overpopulated,
Right.
especially in the busy periods. So you kind of feel like just to get a space of just to sit and take a photo on your own is literally impossible. But it's worth it.
Awesome.
If you haven't been, I would definitely recommend to go.
Definitely, it's in the bucket
If
list.
you're a sunset chaser, Santorini, I would highly recommend it.
I'm gonna put it in. It's already in my bucket list, but I'm gonna figure it out how to go about it and when to go about it. All right, let's talk about some close calls, right? So I know we spoke about you had this airline delay with Turkish Airways, and you missed some flight, and it was New Year's Eve, and you were hit with a credit card scam. And so, what was that whole chaotic trip all about? Especially also the part from London to Tehran. What does those kind of experiences teach you?
Rohit, you're reminding me of an experience that I'm thinking, oh my God, how did I possibly get scammed? But to be honest with you, it was a last minute trip.
Yeah.
And usually whenever we would fly from London to Tehran, it would, at that time, we're talking back in the 90s, it would be British Airways. And there was no availability because it was our Iranian Nowruz, which is on the 21st of March. Now, because it was last minute, we were looking to get a flight on the 19th, 20th to be there on the 21st. And the only availability they had was Turkish Air. It was Turkish Air with a stopover in Istanbul. So we thought, right, let's do it. We did that. Didn't expect us to get, caught in a delay and miss our connecting flight, which was not our fault. But the airline said, we'll put you up for the day. There's no other way to get out there. You'll have to stay and go the next day. During that period, okay, fine. We went and had breakfast. Let's go and explore Istanbul. Haven't been here for years. Went to get some money out from the ATM. Got caught in a very, very, it's such a amateur mistake. It's like a pure rookie mistake, right? When you go anywhere traveling and someone comes to try to help you when you're standing at the ATM, don't fall for it. There's something, they have an agenda. I was just like, oh, happy-go-lucky. I'm just excited to be in a different city I didn't expect to be in. And this guy was trying to help me change the language and whatnot. Lo and behold, before I knew it, he'd taken my card. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm trying to work it. And he just said, I have to go. He left. Before I knew it, he disappeared. And I was like, okay, I need to exit. Where's my card? My card wasn't coming out. And I was like, oh no, I've just understood what has happened. And that's when I called the bank. So what it taught me was, you know what? If you go somewhere and it's totally unexpected, still go with the energy of explore and enjoy. But if something goes wrong, and that was something that went wrong, don't destroy the rest of your time there. And I didn't. I just went back. I reported it, the card, blocked the card and whatever. And I didn't sit there and cry and think, panic, whatever. I was like, okay, what else are we going to do? Let's go have some lunch. So I didn't let it stop my entire, time there.
You didn't let it affect you, but it had
It
a huge
affected me, of course.
Of course, it had a huge impact based
Yeah.
on what experience you went through. It taught you a lot as well, of course.
Yes.
But it should not happen to anybody, such scams.
I mean, you. If someone had told me that's what happened, I'm like, oh my God, what a mistake. How did you fall for it? But I did, So understanding that, I think, be a little bit more aware. People can be kind and nice, of course, but at the same time, don't doubt everybody's kindness. That was my learning. I don't want to change who I am because of that experience, but also remember the fact that if something goes wrong, be prepared.
Good. It's good. I mean, with such incidents, people get to learn what's going on, and and these are kind of things which one needs to be careful about. Let's talk about your experience at the Guna Film Festival, right? You told me that you went there and you also did some solo trips to Sri Lanka. You want to throw some light on that?
Sure. So Guna, I visited a couple of times when I lived in Egypt, and the film festival was a work trip, which I definitely and happily extended into a couple of days for fun as well. Guna is one of those beautiful places. Even when I speak to Egyptians, they're like, "How do you know Guna?" I'm like, "Why would I not know Guna?" It's a place within Egypt that you don't even think is part of Egypt. It's so detached, but it's so full of the same hospitality, the same high energy, high vibes, enjoying the most out of it. But it's just done in a very different way. And I think, it's one of the initiatives that Suarez has done in terms of his development and what he's doing with the country. But it's just beautiful. And what they do with the film festival, you really feel like you're part of what is the Middle East version of the Oscars. Right? It's that kind of a vibe. So
amazing.
Having had that as a work trip, I was so happy to say yes to that project. I was like, yes, sign me up. I'm all in. It's just part of the same energy of Egypt. So again, loved it.
So Fari, you told me about this incident where you missed a flight because of champagne at the airport lounge.
Oh gosh, yes.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, I definitely can. It was, okay, so one of my favorite places when I go to any airport, I like to find something which is a little bit more quiet. And if it's in the lounge area, even better, because obviously you have all the regular amenities that you need.
Yeah.
But Dubai airport is one of my favorites. And
Absolutely.
I have my little spot, which is in the Champagne area. It's the Champagne bar, which is a very quiet space anyway. It's one of the quiet areas. So you have to be very alert. And I know Champagne and being alert, it's kind of a paradox,
Doesn't
I think.
go together.
But they don't make any announcements, right?
Right.
So you can potentially miss your flight. And if you're having a little bit too much fun, then you're definitely going to miss your flight. So I think that's what kind of happened to us. And it was a fun trip anyway, so it wasn't a pressurized element, but I just love the vibe. It's just so quiet and you feel like you're really traveling, because the part of traveling for me that I love is from the time I book my ticket. Even if it's a business trip, it's booking the ticket. I know I'm going somewhere and I'm going to have an adventure. Right?
So your journey already starts when you book the ticket.
Exactly. And then it's when I get to the airport. So the airport for me, again, is like the waiting area before the adventure starts. So the adrenaline rush and the excitement of where, and this happens not only for, let's say pleasurable adventures and trips, but also business trips.
Right.
So it doesn't matter for me. Like I apply the same mindset. I'm going on an adventure. So for me, this experience with the champagne bar was a one-off. I made sure it didn't happen again in terms of when I go, I will set an alarm on my phone. But I don't want to miss the experience. I don't want to interrupt the experience. So there's this inner conflict between, do I want to go fully in and just relax and enjoy, or do I need to make sure that I catch my flight? So I want to make sure that I get the best of everything. I have this FOMO situation going. So I think in travel, I want to try and maximize as much of the experience as I possibly can, starting from even before we've taken off.
Right, I understand. So yeah, I mean, too much champagne sometimes can make you in a different zone and things can change drastically. So that's interesting. So what's your personal secret to surviving long layovers, right? Like the Bangkok terminal marathon that you had, which you told me about. So, how do you keep your spirit alive in such situations?
So when you're having to travel and you've got transit situations or there's delays or there's nothing else you can do about it. I faced one of these when I was doing from Hong Kong to Dubai, and we went via Bangkok. And for that particular part, I was really excited to go and explore Bangkok. It's my first time. But unfortunately fell into a period of time where their king had just passed away. So everything was on shutdown. There was nothing really happening. And they basically advised me, look, if you're going to go out, you're not really going to experience anything because the city is on, it's closed off.
It's on standstill.
Exactly. So I thought, well, I'm not going to go out and just wander the streets. I might as well just stay in here. And it looked like a really interesting airport and terminal. I didn't expect to be there for a good solid 12 hours, but I thought, why not experience it? So I started to find a lot of very, let's say, creative ways to pass my time. And I just realized that, having that time allowed me to reflect on what I had done on the journey in Hong Kong, which is my first time visiting Hong Kong. Beautiful place, loved it. And I was really able to just kind of like embrace Bangkok as a spirit, as an energy, without even stepping foot outside of the airport. So I started to talk to people and just have random conversations, which, me, I love having conversations, right? But random conversations with people who I don't even know their language and I don't know what their experience has been. we just started to talk because we were all in the same situation. We were kind of either thinking we would go out and enjoy the city or just have a short transit time, but just one thing after another. Some people were there for even longer than me. And the stories you start to listen to and the people you start to meet, I think adds to the element of just make the most of your time.
Right.
So instead of running around doing 1,000 things, which I usually do, I really just took that time to pause and get to know people around me. And it was really an interesting experience. The time really flew by. And I think that's what made me realize once you start having those really interesting, curious, engaging conversations, time flies. So 12 hours went by like as it was 2. It was incredible, honestly. And I did walk around the whole place. The terminal was quite nice as well. But I really made the most out of just meeting new people.
Right. 12 hours is a long time. And lucky you were in a great airport, which has a lot of amenities and facilities and things to do. And you made the best out of it doing what you do best, is talking to people and connecting with them and sparking new conversations.
Right.
That's amazing. Now that we are talking of airports, so tell me, which is one airport you weirdly enjoy spending time in? I know you enjoy your time in Bangkok, but is there any other airport where you really enjoy? Dubai, of course, goes without saying.
Yeah.
But is there any other airport where you enjoy spending time in?
I would say, to be really honest with you, Abu Dhabi has been one of those airports which I really enjoyed. Just the first time that I went there, I looked at the whole structure of it and I thought, this is really not an airport. It's more like you just expect it to be more of an experience. And I really enjoyed that. But I personally, like when I arrive to any airport, I want to try and just get my bags, get out and start my journey, right? Start that adventure part of it. But I think Abu Dhabi really did impress me. And I saw it probably, I'm talking about maybe 21 years ago. And
how many years ago?
21. Yeah.
That's many years ago.
I know. You're telling me. I know.
The airport has transformed completely.
Yes, this is why.
And I believe
back
it's
then,
really beautiful now and it's very amazing
even
now.
more, right? But
Yeah.
back then, it was still unique in its own way.
Oh, really?
Right?
I didn't
It
know
really
that.
was. So for me, it was just a brand new structure, very different. It had like little caves and kind of thing. It was just very different for me as an airport. Growing up in the UK, you had Heathrow,
Right.
Gatwick, which was very standard airport style. So I think that was one of the ones that left a really interesting impression on me in terms of airports don't have to be, just this structure. It can actually be welcome to our city. And it really did. When you came to Abu Dhabi and you thought, this is Abu Dhabi, it was a big surprise from the get-go. So I think that added to the whole nuance of when you are traveling, it just soak up all the energy of the culture, of the architecture, the minds behind the city and the country that have built that entire energy.
Wow, guys, 21 years ago, Abu Dhabi was an amazing airport. And honestly, I don't have a clue because I never traveled much from Abu Dhabi. I did travel from Abu Dhabi, but that was like, I don't know if it was the same then. It was probably during the time of 2017, 2018, around those years, a couple of times. And then recently I did travel in 2020, 2022, something like that. But I heard the new airport right now, the brand new one, the midfield terminal is crazy. It's very fast, very efficient. It's very modern, very sophisticated.
Well, that's what you get living in the UAE, right? Everything is improving and it's just getting better and faster and easier to travel. So, of course, I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, they adopted the best of technology there. So I heard that immigration is a breeze and everything is automated, self-check-ins and all that stuff. Right, so as someone with a curious nature, what do you look first when you arrive to a new place? Do you look for food, people, design, energy? What's your, the main thing that you look for?
So this might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but I don't actually look or search for anything. I just arrive and I soak it up. So I literally receive and consume what's going on, right? The main thing that I look for is absorbing the culture and the vibe and the spirit of the city. And if I am doing multiple cities, then it's just the country. And one of these that actually really resonated with me was my trip to Jordan. When I arrived in the airport, I just felt different. And I can't really even explain it in words. It was a very different shift in my my energy. I just felt super relaxed, just by default. Like I arrived, we were waiting to just go through the security within the airport, and my entire body just relaxed. And I cannot explain it. It's just one of those feelings that came over me, but and I've been to Jordan 3 times and I absolutely love the country. So for me, it was once for business and twice for pleasure. But every single time I went, the energy of that country is so powerful that I just felt I need to go and explore, right? So I can't really put it into words, which is probably not very helpful in a podcast, but I really sense the energy of wherever I go. So it's more like I want to meet new people. I want to absorb the culture. I want to learn, what's the do's and don'ts in this place, and the food. Rohit, the food for me is one of those things.
How's the food in Jordan?
Honestly, one of the things I loved was their honey, their dates, their olives. This is literally my breakfast. It was one of those crazy things, but I was enjoying it just because it tasted different.
Right.
And I've lived in this region for 2 decades now.
Yes.
But and I've traveled most of the countries. It's just a different vibe. And especially when you go to Petra, I would recommend to anyone who goes to Jordan, please visit Petra. It's just beautiful. And obviously, from my side, coming from Iran, we have Persepolis, but it has the same energy. Like you feel like this is royalty. It's ancient civilization. I really can't explain it, but it's just a feeling that comes over you.
I hear you. I feel you. I think what you're trying to say, it's a combination of things. It cannot be one thing. It's the food, it's the people, it's the culture, it's the energy. You combine everything and then it becomes magical, like you experience in Jordan. And the food, of course, is the top, or rather one of the key elements that kind of changes the entire experience. Great. Let's take a break from your travels and let's talk about some travel tips and hacks. So is there a travel hack that you feel that most people don't know about, or anything you want to share about in terms of travel hack?
So for me, travel hacks are all about see what you can get in terms of value for money. Mm-hmm. So what I've learned in terms, and this is a lot of conditions, right? So with Emirates, which is my preferred airline, when I travel, and even with silver, you don't have to be, gold or anything else. You can do it with silver skywards. I would buy the flex or super flex economy, and literally about 48 hours before your flight on most destinations, and even European ones, this happened even for a Paris trip for me, and Italy, they would send you an email that you can actually get a discounted upgrade for business. I didn't realize that if you actually paid the super flex, that would not guarantee, but you would have a higher chance than if you just get the regular one.
Correct. In the same way, you never get that chance. A flex upwards, you always get the chance to upgrade, because if the business class seats are not sold, they want to give it out and maximize. So that's a very good tip. And I've been using this tip for a while and it really works. So what about booking flights? Do you have any cheat code or any other way of booking flights?
So I actually watched your podcast and I remembered the fact that you mentioned, because I was going to say this, but you've already covered it, that, create an incognito account when you're wanting to book. So beneficial. Oh my goodness. This was something I learned back in the UK. And this is the days when we had lastminute.com, and there were things like you can just get a very quick flight.
Price line.
It's very simple, very quick flights, very quick last minute deals, very cheap, very affordable. But the concept is don't keep searching and searching, because then they clock on.
Yeah, the cookies will track you.
Exactly. So get out of the cookie stage, get into the let's say the incognito mode, and you're going to get a lot more better deals.
So what about rookie mistakes? What do you think are the rookie mistakes travelers make?
Book last minute, big rookie mistake. Unless you get last minute deals, the longer you leave your flight,
you can't depend on that.
You cannot. You're going to get really crazy prices in terms of higher than what you would normally get. Hotels are going to be worse. It's just try to book as early as possible. And I have followed this rule that said if you book longer than 3 months in advance, you're going to get the best deals. I wish I can get 3 months in advance. I sometimes don't even know.
Not possible.
I'm not that good of a planner unless I can do it for
any
work.
Packing tips? How do you pack your bags? What do you do with your carry-on?
I'm an OCD packer. So I pack for the entire family. Anytime anyone in the family needs to pack, they always call me. I love packing. I have this fascination with it, and I pack the best. Anything you give me to pack will never break.
Do you use a lot of packing cubes?
No. It's just my brain. I have a brilliant way to understand, wrap things in a way, position them so they don't ever smash. It's just this, I don't even know how to explain it, but maybe I should take a photo and send you next time.
Sure,
whatever I have, if it's breakable, anything fragile, I make sure that I wrap it If I can with bubble tape, with bubble wrap, great. If not, I wrap it with something gentle so it's thin, and then with something a little bit thicker.
Awesome.
So I do double wrapping, and I try to like secure it so there's no movement whatsoever. It's like a securely packed bag. Nothing breaks, I guarantee.
Do you have a jewelry dilemma when you travel? Do you carry a lot of jewelry, or what's your take for people who want to travel with jewelry?
So you can see me now. I
Yeah,
wear very
yeah,
minimal jewelry, right?
yeah, absolutely.
But when I travel, it's even less than this. I just think that don't put yourself in a situation where potentially you might have a traumatic situation.
Sounds
so unless you're going for a gala dinner, and when I have work things to do, we do have to wear jewelry. So I take it, but I only wear it for that occasion, and then I put it back in the safe. And I don't ever walk around with, a lot of gold or anything like this. It's just putting yourself in dangerous situations.
Let's touch a little bit on your career or what do you do in day-to-day life. I want you to tell the audience about ExF. What is ExF, and what is ExF for the audience listening to us?
So ExF, thank you for coming and supporting it as well. It's basically for people such as yourself, business-minded entrepreneurs who want to connect with other like-minded people, form that connection, build that bond, and potentially create some collaborations and some opportunities. It's really focusing on bringing my understanding of what the gaps are in networking, because I believe in forming really meaningful relationships, right? If I can't help you in whatever capacity you need, maybe I know somebody that can. And if I refer them, you know that they're not gonna, over promise and under deliver. They're not gonna cheat on the price they're gonna quote you. You are gonna get someone who I validate. So in that regard, I think building a very strong community in terms of business-minded founders and owners coming together to help each other's business grow, there is an element of collaboration. And I believe in connecting people together, building that form of collaboration. So ExF was just basically something that I was working on for a few years, and I just didn't have the time and dedication to launch it. And this year in February, I decided, end of January it was, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And lo and behold, as I usually do, I just press play. I don't really plan things too much in advance. But I launched it, and it's something that I've enjoyed putting together as my community events.
So let me connect your travel with your career a little bit, or what you do as a passion, the connoisseur you are in event curation. So if you could host an immersive global event in any city you have visited before, where would it be and why?
Does it have to be a city I've visited before? Because I'm willing to take risks and experiment. So I can easily plan something in a place I've never been to before.
The reason I said city I've visited before, because then you know the city. Right now you're going to be, of course, now social media is spreading awareness. So you can know the city without visiting it, also through our podcast and through many other sources. But yeah, feel free. I mean, any city in the world, where would you host a global event, immersive event? Which would that be, and why would you choose that?
Okay, I think one that I visited before, it would definitely be Cairo in Egypt. And that's just because the energy of that place is, you feel like you don't want to sleep, right? So that's the vibe that I got from that city. And actually the whole country. Down south, you feel a little bit more relaxed, but there's still like, let's make the most of life. That's the vibe I got. So most definitely I would do something there. But in a city that I've never been to, and I would love to go and do something, is Rio. The whole vibe of Brazil, I haven't been, but I know people who visited, and they just literally have always said, and they've carried the energy back by saying it's a city that never sleeps. Right. And that's what I love. I think for doing an immersive event or anything on a global level, you want to make sure that people are at their optimum. They're ready to absorb and consume. And that's the vibe, right? People are hungry for something. They want to experience something as if it's for the first time. So I think these are the kind of cities I would focus on.
I believe you and what you say, because I think the energy is very important. And I think Brazil carries that energy that, it's a beautiful city, they're beautiful people. It's very immersive on its own. There's lots of stuff to do there in terms of activities. So when you do events, because in my past career path, I've been organizing events, especially in of course, in UAE, in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai. I did in Doha, in Saudi, in India, and Australia as well. So I was part of a company where I had taken a role as a marketing manager, and I was heading up the corporate events there. So yeah, I can feel you, because I would also think of something similar. I know Cancun is a great destination, and a lot of events happen there. So is Vegas, but yeah, I think Brazil will be a good twist, and something unique that you bring to the table?
I think Mexico would have been another place, but honestly, I think again the vibe is just electric,
Yeah.
right? And I would love to go and explore a little bit more.
So
of
I've
that.
been to events in Cancun and also to Hawaii. I participated not as an organizer, but I can tell you the energy is something else,
Sure.
something different. And there's a lot of activity for people to do after the the day-to-day affairs or
Yeah.
the corporate so to say protocols and things like
Sure.
that, right? So let's talk about your life in general. 20 years ago, you moved to Dubai. What was your first impression when you moved here in 2005? And what does Dubai mean to you now?
Oh, Rohit, this is like a trip down memory lane.
Yes.
I moved to Dubai because I really, growing up in the UK, I didn't want to go back after, being there for a good 18, 19 years. I kind of thought to myself, I want to still stay in this region. And I just finished doing 2 years in Iran, which I loved. I loved exploring my home country, but I just couldn't see myself living there. And I realized I don't want to go away from this region. I want to explore a little bit
Well,
more.
let me rephrase my question. What I want to ask you is 2005, when you came to Dubai, what was your first impression? How did you feel? What exactly happened? What were the emotions that ran through you during that time? I want you to share that
Yeah.
moment, that experience with us.
So when I came here, I was looking for my new start. And that's why I didn't quite know where I want to start that. And part of my journey, but I knew this region had something to teach me. Coming from Iran, I loved my home country, but like I said, I didn't want to live there. So I thought the next best thing is let me be close enough, but still explore this region.
Right.
And Dubai just was the melting pot for. I love the city and I love the beach and I love all of these things. So why not? Like, it just made sense to me. It had the safety that I needed for that period of time because it was the first time I was moving away from my family. And they had their concerns of why would you want to stay in this region? You've grown up in the UK, go back to Europe. And I just knew something here was calling me. And Dubai for me gave me the springboard, gave me I saw what this city had become from the stories I had heard. My dad had been here back in the early 90s, and when he came with me during the I'd say early 2000s, he literally said this is just transformed. So I realized that I was transforming in my own personal journey, and I wanted to understand, what is this city going to teach me? There was something about this place. And when I first came, I actually flew into Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
And I stayed there for a few days, and then I came to Dubai. It just spoke to me, and it still does. I say this to everyone who I meet for the first time that have just arrived here. For me, I still, after 20 years, feel like I'm on holiday. Like, even though I have big businesses, I have work, I have a lot of things going on, I still feel like I am on vacation mode. I'm vacation Fari. But this vibe of this city, it's just, for me, represents transformation. And I think that's what it hit in my personal journey, that I was able to find myself. I was able to be independent for the first time, live on my own. And I know it might sound strange to a lot of people, but for me, coming from Persian parents, we are supposed to live with our parents until we get married. I decided to take that leap before I got married. So for me, I just generally found myself here. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. I found my independence. I found that transformation within myself, and I saw what the city had become. And I knew if I put my mind to it and I focus on what I want to achieve, I'll get there. And that's exactly what I've done. So for me, I love this city because it just spoke to me from day one.
Right. And fast forward now, I know you already answered this probably, that you still feel on vacation. What is your current sentiment, or what does Dubai mean to you right now as we are on the present day?
It's my home. Really, honestly, I've been brought up in the UK. I am from Iran, but this is my home. I see myself here as the real authentic Fari. And I love the fact that whenever I travel, I always think I want to go back home. Like, I haven't got to a place yet where I've thought to myself, I could see myself moving here.
Awesome.
Dubai is the place for me where I just see as home.
Right. You know what? It's very relatable for me because I moved around the same time. I moved here in 2002, And that time, the family members who invited me, my brother-in-law, my cousin's husband, he was staying in Abu Dhabi. So during my first few weeks, I spent quite some time in Abu Dhabi and then in Dubai. But when I arrived here, I had no clue what I'm doing here. I had come to look for a career change, for a role, for a new role. I was back in Mumbai, and then my family said, "Look, why don't you go and go to Dubai? It's a land of opportunities, and you can see what it has to offer you." And still, I was in that mode of discovery. I was still trying to figure out myself whether what I want to do. I was doing some freelance gigs at that time, and then later on, I took up a full-time role in 2003. Just about, I spent like almost 4 months toying around because I came in December. So I was still kind of trying to figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
But for me, that time, Dubai meant like it is, a place with a lot of mystery, a place with a lot of opportunity. And, I wanted to find my space in that whole, equation. It took some time, but eventually I got a role, and then now we are here. It's been
Fast forward, yeah,
two
and you're
decades now, just like you, and still today Dubai is home, like you said.
Yeah.
And I don't have any plans to move anywhere else. At least my vision for the next 10 years or so is definitely to be here, and you never know where life takes you.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people who come here, they always plan to be here for only a few years as a stepping stone to the next chapter of their life. And then you end up staying, and then you realize 10 years have passed, and then here you are. People keep asking me, so how long have you been here? Every time I calculate, I'm like, oh my God. Just recently, it's like 2 decades now. Like, how time has flown. But I genuinely feel like this is the kind of place that you can make anything a reality.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that whether it's a business you want to launch, whether it's you want to create a new family, whether it's, you want to recreate yourself, whatever that element is, I think this is the place where you can make anything happen. You just have to focus on it, put your full dedication into it, and watch the magic just unfold.
I'm in sync with you, because when I came here, I had no clue what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to be here or not. I had no plan, and things started unfolding one by one. And, before I came to Dubai, I had not traveled to a single country before that. This was my first country outside my home country.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I came from India straight to Dubai, and now fast forward. Since then, in 2 decades, I've already been to 50 countries. And it's thanks to Dubai, because Dubai gave me those opportunities to travel and explore and be who I am today.
Beautiful.
Right? So the sentiments we all share are pretty similar, right? Because it unfolds things which you can't expect. So the unexpected happens, and that's what it's...
And that's the beauty of life, right? I always have
Exactly.
found that the more you plan things, the more you're blocking yourself from what can be. So I've learned that, especially COVID taught me this big time.
Yes,
There's
yes.
no need or use to plan so much in advance. Of course, have a game plan, but don't meticulously plan every single route you're going to take, because everything can be turned upside down in just a second. And like we saw, the whole world had to adapt to a new way of living. So I think this is the kind of energy that you get here in Dubai, and also the UAE, and the fact that you've got, like, I love traveling to Fujairah. I love just taking a couple of days and going to even Abu Dhabi. It's just become so different. Like we were just sharing, from 20 years ago to now, totally different place. But still, you find there's a quietness, there's a stillness there. And the Northern Emirates, same. For me, it's just within one country that it's a small country. You can still explore and take a couple of days as a staycation without having to fly out, and still feel like you've taken a vacation.
Yes, like every Emirates here feels different. Like you said, the vibe and the energy is different in Abu Dhabi or Al Ain or Fujairah or Ras Al Khaimah or Dubai. So if you want the fast life, of course, Dubai is the place to be. But if you want to also relax a bit and take it easy, there are places to go to. And while in UAE, you can still experience a lot.
Of course.
Like there are 7 different Emirates, and each one is different, and each one gives you a different experience and exposure.
Yeah.
So you have created very iconic events across the globe. I know that you've created events in London, in Moscow, and of course now in Dubai, and probably other places as well. So how do the vibes and people in each city influence how you build these experiences for them?
Very good question. I think from my side, the reason why I love doing events is because it's bringing people together. And within that notion, it's bringing ideas together. So when people come into any event that I organize, I want them to have the experience that you're connected, you belong, you're not alone in this. And especially when it's more of a corporate event, it's a very different mission because we obviously have certain criteria we need to meet, branding guidelines and all of this kind of stuff. But it's still an experience. So from my side, whether it's a networking or a community event or a corporate event, I put the same intention in. I want people to come with the intention to meet new people, but to go beyond that and really have an experience and think, wow, I saw something that I didn't see before, or I felt something I didn't feel before. I met somebody new that I never thought I would. On that level, I think I'm always looking at giving that memory, building a memory for someone. And you will have some good memories and you have some bad memories in any event.
Part of life, yeah.
But I think the main core of it is what drives me is to make sure that people feel that when they come to an event, it's a real experience.
Great.
From the minute that they actually even receive the invitation, you know, they embody the feeling of that event. And there's a lot of thoughts. And I think that go into planning. So it's not just let's plan an event and let's execute. It's about, you know, the curation of it. Even the entertainment you bring, I want it to take people to another level. So even when I do a lot of corporate events, I always focus on bringing an element of art. So creativity and art. And that is getting people to kind of just go into their imagination a little bit, which is not normal in the corporate events. But I like to do it because, especially at the beginning when you're just starting or inaugurating the event, it gets people to be a little bit more relaxed, and then they will enjoy it much more. So especially in the medical field where I've done a lot of really big events, of course, we've done big things like drone shows and all of this, but the essence of tapping into people's imagination, getting people to feel relaxed, they will definitely have a much more pleasurable experience. So for me, it's really reaching into the heart and soul of any person who's attending, so it becomes a memorable event for them in a positive way.
Right. So I hear you and I feel you as well, because I have been part of corporate events, like I told you before, and you know, incorporating art is a very good thing to do, because like especially if you're doing an event for a few days, like couple of days or 3 days, like the 2-3 days conferences, live-in conferences, then and the people are with you through the whole conference. You need to keep on changing their mindset and their outlook and things like that. Right. So it's very essential to give them that experience and give them that meaningful connection that you spoke about. Right. You also done events for government entities. You've also launched business growth consultancies, and you built communities like ExF, which we briefly spoke about. And you also are, you know, one of the founding curators of Podclub, right, along with other people involved. So what keeps you driven to create connections of such kind, or like communities especially? Like talking more about community, like ExF is more about community, Podclub is more about community. So where does this community mindset come from, or how did you get into this community approach?
I would say it kind of just was within me. Even back in like just when I came out of university, I started building with 2 other people a community for young professionals that we were trying to make our mark in the game, but we didn't know, like we wanted to socialize, we wanted to meet other people who were like us. And so we started building a community of young professionals back in London. Then fast forward years, I think it was back in 2013 when I was in Moscow. And there was a very strong British expat community there. And being the fact that I was there, I was working with the British Embassy. What I started to fall into was just networking with other expats. And lo and behold, I ended up becoming the president of the British Women's Club out there. Obviously, we had to hold a lot of really interesting events. And we started to realize, like, for me, I wanted to bring together the Russian and the British mindset. So when a lot of expats travel, what I notice is that they stay within their silo. They don't usually feel safe enough to integrate. And I thought, well, this is a beautiful country, Russia in itself, and the people and their creativity. We need to embrace that and integrate with that. So I brought a lot of artisans in the different trade fairs that we did. And I started to really make sure that people were exploring different elements, creating different activities and activations. Then when I came to Dubai, I focused more on the business element. So business owners, founders, these kind of elements. And I just found myself in that circle of startups. So lo and behold, when I started to do certain things, and only recently this year launching ExF, it's again Events by Fari, which is focusing on bringing people together who are business owners to network, to collaborate. And again, I want to foster the element of you are not alone. You know, you're in this beautiful city. There's a lot of opportunities. Why not come together? And the bringing together of people and, again, experts, such as the co-hosts that I invite, are there so that people can start to learn as well. So it's a learning of new skills that you can, or elevate your skills, but also fostering the concept of community and collaboration. That's really important for me.
Right.
And of course, with Podclub, it's more to do with the podcasting community.
Right.
So the fact that that's now built itself into, you know, we are the only podcasting community, not only in Dubai, but within the UAE, and I would very easily say within the region, is because there is a creative element that needs to belong. And you know, you're experiencing yourself, you're a creator,
Yes.
you're a podcaster. You want to talk to other people who are in the same field as you, not only just to share best practices, but to potentially collaborate. So I've understood that not only within founders and business owners, but also creators and podcasters, they really want to share. They want to share their experience. They want to learn from others, and they also want to collaborate. So that's the essence and the pillars that I found very, very strong in anything that I do. And I just seem to attract other people who want to do the same. So
Right.
I think the sense of community for me is definitely the way that the future is going to be showing itself, that we are not alone. Even though we feel that, you know, you are a solo podcaster or you are a solopreneur, there are others out there just like you who are going through the same pains, the same challenges. So why not come together? Because community is where we feel like we belong. And when we're out of our comfort zone, we're not living in our, you know, with our family, we're living outside of our birthplace for a lot of people. This is where you feel like, I don't know if I belong. So belonging to a community, you feel like I have someone that I can reach out to. You know, that essence for me has made me feel really safe in sharing my ideas and also learning from so many other people. So I definitely think the community building is the future. And, you know, for whatever your niche is, whether it's you're a student or whether you're a creative or whatever you are and whatever your interest is, building your own community will really help you to expand that energy of belonging and creating and you know, cultivating all of those beautiful
Right.
formulations.
That's great because, you know, otherwise you're left alone and
Yeah.
you have no one to look back at. And a lot of people, like you said, are solopreneurs or solo podcasters or people who are starting their journey alone without a team, without any backup, and they have a lot of burden on them. But being part of communities, even for entrepreneurs, being part of communities like ExF or Podclub, and we should dwell a little bit on Podclub, but before that, and I'm sure there's a lot of Podclub members watching this and want to be members or people who want to join, but really, I think what community does for you is brings people together.
Yeah.
It helps in sharing best practices. Maybe you're stuck, you're lost, or you're doing something in a certain way. And the community can probably help you to change the game and improve things. So since we spoke about Podclub, let's talk a little bit about Podclub. So what is Podclub? How would you define Podclub being one of the founder members? And
Well, you are also one of our you know, longtime members as well. You've been coming to most of the events, which I love to see your face because you always bring such a high energy anyway. And I mean, the essence of Podclub was created from podcasters who want to really build that sense of community, like we discussed. So what we try to do is, my side is the events curation and the execution. So I bring together monthly events in person. And the intention behind it is to bring actual podcasters who have reached a certain level of success and they have insights and experiences to share. So within that realm, I want people who have either, and usually our audience are people who already have a podcast or they're thinking about it and they're just not sure how, when, who to do what with. So we just like open the door and like, come along. Come and either learn how to do whatever you need for your journey, or if you already started, how you can elevate, how you can excel. So it's taught a lot to me personally from the guests that I've invited and the things that I've learned in terms of how we need to be focusing on the right metrics and learn about, you know, pivoting when you feel that your podcast needs something else. All of these elements, I think it's sharing best practices. That's
Right.
ultimately what it is. And then I've always in my events included some element of engagement, icebreakers and everything. So everyone can get to know one another. So that's, again, my way of building that sense of community. Because when you go to an event that you don't know anyone, some people are very shy and they might be a podcaster, but they're also an introvert. So I can't sit there and, pick who's going to be the outspoken one and who's the shy one. But I want people to feel like here is a space that I can actually come in and talk to somebody new and leave maybe with a friend. That's the element. And I think that's why the essence of coming to Podclub events, whether you are a podcaster or you're thinking about starting your journey, even if you're a content creator, there is something for you to learn and someone new for you to meet. So I think that's what I like to foster in the events. And the essence of Podclub has been growing. We have a very strong WhatsApp community as well. The events that we've done, we've just crossed the year now. July was the year, last July 2024 was our first event. And it's just been something that I love to do. It's genuinely one of my passion projects.
Right.
And it's just beautiful to see new faces. Every single event, we have brand new faces who show up. So we're looking at maybe potentially doing some online events as well. You're getting a bit of scoops here. So I'm giving you some intel info. But, launching some other activities as well, maybe not just focusing on the speaker-led events, but maybe also having some genuine, just some networking sessions within each other. Elements that we want to come and take it to the next level, but it's definitely, if you are a podcaster and you want to meet other podcasters, it's definitely the best place to join and share your ideas, learn new skills and level up.
Absolutely, I second that. My own experience with Podclub has been truly amazing. I was not even a podcaster when I joined my first Podclub event. And Podclub does, I'm sure a lot of people watching us or listening to us want to be podcasters or aspiring podcasters. And if you're in UAE, there's no better place than Podclub, because Podclub is where you come, even if you've not started your podcast or you have an existing podcast, and you get to meet fellow podcasters. And there's lots of benefits. I think the benefits are intangible. You cannot even explain the benefits. For me personally, I was able to get some good guests from the Podclub.
Beautiful.
Right, some almost like 5 of my episodes are with Podclub members who are existing podcasters, including you.
Yeah.
And the first one was Eileen Mai and Troya Taleb and Francisco and Ram. All these beautiful people I met in the Podclub community, and that's how I got to know them, and I featured them in my show. And you spoke about best practices. Yes, you learn a lot, and we had recently the online session with the YouTube guys about how podcasting works on YouTube. So a lot of learning, a lot of best practices, the networking bit, and even recruiting guests maybe from these events, right? So if anyone is listening to us, watching us, and has a podcast or wants to do a podcast, they should definitely join Podclub community. And the WhatsApp group is so strong and so valuable, and it brings out immense things in that.
Well, thank you for the testimonial. I love it. You should be our spokesperson.
So let's talk about your own podcast, FABDXB. It's very unique because it celebrates failures and breakthroughs, right? What made you choose that honest, raw lens to your platform? Because, podcasting is a broad area, and how it impacted the way you see your own journey.
Very interesting question. So the reason I started the podcast focusing on failures is because I was running a community event for founders to share their failure stories, right? And this was a monthly event that I was running. It's actually something that was started back in Mexico, and it became a global movement. Founders would kind of like just sit around talking to one another and, chewing the fat about, well, this didn't work out. I failed on this. How did that happen? Why didn't you share your failure with me so I could have avoided it? And then it just became into a movement where people wanted to actually share their failure stories as a way to empower their journey. So that inspired me, because when I started to just attend the event, I realized I was starting to not be so shamed by my own failures on a personal and a professional journey. But the concept of it came about when I actually was hosting the events, and we only gave 10 minutes to each speaker. I realized that's not even enough to even understand the story of their journey. So I decided to start my podcast back in 2017, and we did about 4 or 5 episodes. Unfortunately, the failure in that concept was that one of the studios that we were using, the person who was actually filming it, he had to leave, went to Egypt, and he never gave me the content. So big failure in that concept itself, but I took it as a sign that it wasn't the right time to launch. And then back in 2023 was when I actually launched the podcast itself. And I just reached out to 10 of the incredible entrepreneurs that I know. And I wanted them to just tell me their stories. And they were so brave and courageous to dive deep into talking about their failures and how that failure allowed them to break through and face their challenges head on and start a new journey, or how to pivot from where they were. And it just was truly inspiring conversations. So for me, it was just more of a therapy. And I know it was interesting for other people to watch how they can avoid these same pitfalls. But for me, it was just, again, realizing that you're not alone. Even if you faced whatever hardship, and there were conversations that we had about bankruptcy, mental health issues, really diving deep into finding mechanisms how you can make it through the dark times as an entrepreneur. So it wasn't all, talk about wonderful, rosy things. It was really hard conversations we had, betrayal and all of these things. So a lot of these, I realized failures is a topic that people don't want to talk about.
Exactly.
But I think it's a powerful topic that once you start to peel back the layers, it's a healing you have to go through. And whatever you're involved in, whether it is a business that you are running, whatever failure you've experienced, it's going to actually help your progress and your process by, kind of actually addressing the failure that you've experienced, right? So I think it's one of those processes where you need to address it, you need to acknowledge it, and you need to heal through it. And that's exactly what we did. Through most of the episodes, I was healing through hearing the stories and reflecting on my own experiences that the guests were sharing with me. And then it's just now transpired into talking about breakthroughs that people have created as new technologies, the next best thing that you can look for in whatever area. And it's just evolving. Right. So it's a personal journey for me that I brought some incredible people to share stories of how they've managed to navigate through the failures of their entrepreneurial journey.
Amazing. Like you said, failure is something that people don't want to talk about, but we all fail. And I think it's important talking about the failures, because that can be a learning curve for someone else or even for you. Because the minute you start, kind of analyzing it more deeper or discussing it even with someone, there's a process of healing.
Yeah.
Right, you heal, maybe the other person heals, the other person gets to learn more from it.
Agreed.
And, we all fail. So there's no harm in talking about failure, or I don't think people should feel bad about talking about failure. This is kind of the preconceived mindset, my failure, I don't want to admit my failure.
But you'd be surprised, even some of the people that I spoke to, and they're friends of mine, we were just having a conversation and they said, well, do I really have to talk about the failures as much? I'm like, yes, that's the concept of the podcast. It's not about, showcasing your successes. I want people to understand that you've reached a level of success. Fantastic. But what did you have to go through to get there? What were the lessons you've learned? And some people still to this day are not comfortable talking about them in public. And that's fine. But it just means that for me, it's definitely a topic that I really want to make sure that people are more comfortable with sharing, because it just means that you are not hiding it. And I believe that what you put on the table, it has no power. If you try to hide something, it's going to hold you back from trying new things and making those breakthroughs. But if you lay it out there and you're like, I made this mistake, it didn't work out, you actually have more power. There is nothing holding you back.
So I strongly believe that failures play a very important role in shaping your own success. Do you believe in that?
Most definitely. And I think failing forward is how you can empower yourself, that once you have experienced that failure, you're able to take it to another level. So you don't hold yourself back. You actually learn the mechanisms to move forward despite the failure.
There's a different take. One of my guests on my show, I remember now that we talk about this, she said very strongly she doesn't believe in failure. Okay. So, that's the level of confidence and the way to look at it. And I know there's this thing of manifestation. Mm-hmm. You don't manifest to fail. You don't tell the universe you want to fail. But certain things are bound to happen, whether you like it or not. It's not that you want to fail or you plan the failure. But if it happens, there's no harm in admitting and no harm in moving forward with it or taking it up. But yeah, like different people have different mindsets and
I agree. I think not wanting to fail is not a bad thing, but I think fearing the failure is going to stop you from taking those chances, taking those leaps, taking those steps that maybe you would have done if you didn't fear failure. You see, so I think the manifestation side of things, yes, but I think there is a difference between seeking failure and fearing failure.
Right.
Very two different things.
absolutely. So, what advice would you give to young women, especially stepping into? I'll name a few things, and you can take it one by one. Stepping into entrepreneurship, number one. Stepping into solo travel, number two, because we are a travel show, we want to talk about, and stepping into podcasting. These are the three areas. What advice would you give the women watching the show and listening to us?
I would strongly suggest or recommend, if you have any idea that you want to start a business or an initiative or any community, whatever you want to call it. I mean, entrepreneurship is about taking risks, right?
Yeah.
So if there is anyone out there who actually wants to take a risk, but they're holding themselves back because of fear of failure, because of being, the fear of being judged, the shame and the embarrassment of what they want to do maybe might not match what's, their culture, their community is accepting, or whatever the reason is that they're not taking that step forward, look at that and really just try to heal whatever that wound is and take the step. Because it might work, it might not work, but you're going to regret not taking that chance.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely suggest for anyone who has the idea, take that leap of faith, go for it, and then learn the lessons as you go along. Maybe you're not supposed to be an entrepreneur, but you'll never know unless you take that step forward. So I would definitely suggest whatever ideas you have, don't bury them, let them flourish, and then take the lessons you can from them to move forward. That's the first thing. In terms of solo travel, oh my goodness. I've done one solo trip and I think it was eye-opening in as far as I was very nervous of spending time with myself because I didn't really know who I really was, right?
You're a people's person.
And I love spending time with people, right? I am that kind of person. But I think after that trip, I really kind of realized I do need to spend time with myself and be okay with that. So it did definitely inspire me to spend more time with me. And I come to realize that quality time with me is actually allowing me to come up with new ideas, my mind to be at peace. And I don't need to constantly have noise, music, or something in the background. I can actually be completely still and quiet. That's what the solo trip taught me. I'm not going to say I'm going to go on more solo trips, but I can definitely say if I choose to, I will learn new and more things about myself. So if you haven't ever done a solo trip, I would definitely recommend to try one. Obviously, be selective where you go and do the due diligence. And in terms of podcasting, I mean, Rohit, honestly,
for women, especially advice for women on podcasting, like someone who's new and is thinking about podcasting, what advice would you give them?
I would say the same as I've said for the other two. If you have an idea of creating your own podcast, just start. You don't need to have all the excuses in the world. And trust me, all the excuses will come. I don't have the right equipment. I don't have the time. I don't have the studio. I don't have the guests. But you can do your own solo podcast. You can do a talking head podcast where you are just sharing your insights, your thoughts. If you don't have the guests, speak to some friends. Start. Just put a camera, put your phone in front of you and start recording.
There are many ways.
And there are so many ways that whatever excuses come up for you, that's what's holding you back. So again, especially with podcasting, it's just the form of creation. Look at that form of creation, whether it's an audio or a video podcast, whatever your topic is, even if it's being done by somebody else and they're doing it amazingly and they're super successful, it doesn't mean that there's no space for you. There's always more out there for people to learn from, to experience. So your story is going to be resonating with someone. So share it because it's going to be therapy for you and it's certainly going to resonate with somebody else out there. So just don't let excuses stop you from taking that chance.
Absolutely, guys. There's no excuses. Whether you want to start a business, you want to go solo traveling, or you want to start a podcast, whether you're a woman or whoever you are, you should just take the leap of faith and not fear anything and put it out there to test. And people will be happy to share their feedback like, oh, it's great and we want to watch more of you, want to listen more of you, right?
Yeah.
Fari, that's great advice. And I really appreciate what you shared with the community here and the people listening and watching us. Amazing. I just want to add EXF is Events by Fari, and they do a monthly event, which is kind of a networking event. It's very intimate. It's a small, close group, 15 to 20 people typically. And there's a lot of learning curve. There's always usually a speaker there talking about communication skills, how to improve your profile, how to socialize better. So if you guys have a chance, I would highly recommend you to come to one of the EXF events and see what it's all about.
Thank you, Rohit. I appreciate that.
Right. So we're going to move to a rapid fire round. Okay. So I'm going to ask you questions and I really need quick, fast answers, right?
Got it.
So you choose one, window seat or aisle seat.
Always window.
Great. Luxury hotel or cozy boutique stays.
Boutique.
Adventure trips or relaxing getaways.
Both.
Solo trips or group travel. Group. Okay. Summer flights or red eye late nights.
Red eye.
Planned itinerary or spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
Big city or close grid escapes.
Both.
Backpack or suitcase.
Suitcase.
5-star restaurant or street food.
Both.
Okay. So this is like, would you rather? Would you rather be stuck in an airport for 24 hours or lose your baggage for a week?
Airport.
Only visit tropical beaches or snowy mountains for the rest of your life.
Oh my God. Beaches.
Okay. Travel for free but never get to choose the destination, or always pay for your tickets and get to choose the destination.
Free travel.
Free travel.
Unknown.
Doesn't matter. Never use a map again or never speak the local language.
Oh, never use the map again.
Okay. Visit only places you've been to before, or visit only places that you've never been to before.
Never been to before.
Okay, this is like one and only. The one destination everyone should visit before they die.
Tehran.
Okay. The one travel experience that changed your life.
Tehran.
Okay. The one country that still surprises you every time.
Tehran.
That's a hat trick. The one thing you always buy as a souvenir when you travel.
The one thing that always makes me smile?
No, one thing that you always buy as a souvenir.
Oh, fridge magnets.
The one thing you always forget to pack.
Nothing. I always pack everything I need.
Or do you tend to forget something in any of your trips? Like you forget your
I
chargers?
don't forget, I said I'm an OCD packer, so I'm fantastic at that.
Amazing, Fari. That's really great. You absolutely crushed this mission. And where can the listeners actually follow you or follow your journey? Can you tell your social media handles, please?
Sure. I'm usually on Instagram. That's my preferred platform. And I'm Fari_Zolf. Very easy to find me. I am also on LinkedIn, but my full name, Fariba Zolfagari. So either way, that's the best way to reach me.
Awesome. We'll make sure to plug all your social media handles so that the audience can follow you. And you're also a podcast host and you have your own podcast. Can you just briefly speak about your podcast?
Of course. My podcast is called FabDXP. It's basically featuring founders and their breakthroughs. It used to be focusing on failures, and I've now kind of pivoted into talking really about the learnings from your failures. And it's all just entrepreneurial stories.
Amazing. Thank you, Fai. It was great having you here. Very nice talking to you. I'm sure the audience has a lot to learn and gain from this episode. And keep watching and stay tuned for the next upcoming episodes. So if you haven't still done so far, follow us, like us, and you can find these episodes on all your favorite podcast platforms, from YouTube to Spotify to Apple to Amazon. Anywhere you want, you can listen and watch our podcast. Thank you so much. Today in the studio, we have a very amazing personality. She's a former model. She's someone who actually bridges psychology with business, and she talks about and she consults people. She's a crisis coach. Let's welcome to the studio Margarita Alex.
Being a model is basically being a mannequin. There is no personality involved. When I went to China, very strict experience. Like I could not have water on the pool. Not only used to it, but was not even aware. Abu Dhabi, it appears that I am the perfect candidate for a spy.
Oh, really?
My engagement ring as well. Dubai, it's not my last stage. It's a country that has a very different ecosystem in terms of social media. The way that you approach life is not linked by a country, by opportunities in life. You really feel like doing or enjoying. Then the entire globe, the one that you have here, is actually your home.